not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Supernatural, metaphysical, paranormal. You know, all those things you've been wondering about? Are you ready to go deeper into the realms of the unknown? I hope you've got your walking shoes on, because life is an adventure, and this is the journey. Come on, let's go. Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in tonight. This is the Journey Radio Show, and hey, we're the She-Squatchers. I'm Jen Cruz, your host, and I've got my fellow teammates with me. I've got Jenna Grover.
Well, hello, hello, hello.
And I've got Tammy Trico.
Hi, everybody. We missed you.
I missed you guys so much. I'm sorry we have been off for a couple weeks. I was sick. So I apologize for that. I'm only human. I know everybody. It's a shock. But it's a shock. I didn't have a voice to speak with. So there was nothing there. It was coming out really raspy. You would have said, "That's not Jen."
Right. And the whole show would have been ruined.
Right?
Ruined.
You ruined it.
You
I would have
ruined it.
I would have been coughing the whole time. So,
Oh, yeah.
so
I'm glad you
that,
called it. That wouldn't have been fun to listen to.
no. So I'm better now. We're good to go. We have a fun show for you tonight, but we're waiting on our guest to arrive because he was doing a different live show, so he'll be here soon. When that one comes, he's a busy man. He's a busy man, so I'm going to hold off until he gets here. Tammy just came back from camping and horseback riding and enjoying the wilderness out there in Virginia. So Tammy, tell us about it. Did you see
I
anything?
knew you were going to make me fill the dead air.
We're waiting for Doug, guys. Sorry. But it's interesting. I can't wait to hear all about it.
I went to a place called Crabtree Falls Campground. It's in Tyro, Virginia. It's up in the mountains, and it's about 3.5 hours from where I live. So I have mountains only 3.5 hours from my ocean. It's amazing. But we went up there, and they had, tent sites and everything. But we got this little tiny cabin, which is more of like a she shed. But we went and we camped there, and it was right on a river, and the river was really full because it had rained the night before. So there was lots of raging water going by and very peaceful. And we had a good campfire, and we went horseback riding on this mountain trail. I think it's Appalachian Adventures was the name of it. But it is not just trail riding. We were climbing on the mountains on the backs of these horses. So it was definitely an adventure. And I hadn't been on a horse since I got thrown off of a horse, like 3 or 4 years ago. So not only was it my first time back on a horse, but now we're climbing over rocks and trees and climbing hillsides and mountains up and down and across rivers.
Your butt must have been so sore. I used to ride when I was younger.
It was not sore at all. It's because I do the kickboxing.
You were sitting on muscle. Your butt must be all muscle. And that's why you weren't sore.
Know it.
I think I better start kickboxing. I'll kick a box. We'll call it that.
Jenna will be black and blue from head to toe. You bruise so easy.
I do.
I did too at first.
I'm soft. I'm a petal flower.
Yeah. At first, I got hurt a lot. I fractured my wrist. I broke fingers. I broke toes when I first started kickboxing. But you keep going and you heal and you get stronger and your bones get stronger. And yeah, I was not sore at all. And it was a 2-hour ride.
That's crazy.
Awesome.
I've never heard of anybody who hasn't been on a horse for a long time not having a sore rump afterwards, especially if you're riding up in those mountains. So tell us what happened, like when you got into the top part of the mountain.
Well, okay, there's the trail leader and then 2 of my friends in front, and I was the last one. So my horse was slower, and I was completely fine with that. Let me tell you. But there was times when you're hanging on for dear life. And when we're going down the hill, I just looked at the horse and I pet him. I said, you know what, dude, you know where you're going. I'm going to trust you to go where you're going. And I'm going to look up, because if I look at what we're doing, you're going to freak me out. So I just let him take the lead. We did get to the top part where we were at the top of the trail, and it was an abandoned house. And I so would have loved to have like tied up the horses for a little while and gone and explored in this house and, you know, done a little ghost hunting, but that wasn't part of the trail ride. So we just got to go up and back down.
So that sounds so fun. So how did you actually get to do this? I mean, like, did you and your friends just decide?
Yeah, my friend Shannon actually was going up there anyway. She's like, I'm going, I'm doing this. She's been up to that campground a lot of times, and she hadn't been horseback riding up there. She's like, I want to do this. Do you want to go? And I'm like, heck yeah, I want to go. So, and then our other friend Ginger decided that, okay, she's gonna do it too. So yeah, the three of us just went up there. We only went up there for one night. I didn't have time to go squatching or anything. You know, I did ask the horse if he'd seen Bigfoot or heard Bigfoot, and you know, he kind of, his ears kind of laid back, like he didn't want to talk about it. So I didn't push him.
Yeah, don't push your horse into a little anger right before your ride. Keep him calm.
I did hear a scream when we were on the trail, though. It wasn't, if it was a Bigfoot, it would have been a juvenile, because it wasn't that deep guttural one. I was like, what the crap? You know, it didn't sound like a mountain lion. You know, I know what a mountain lion sounds like, but it was interesting. And I asked the girls, and they're like, I didn't hear that. I was like, oh, maybe I was the only one paying attention. Well, because, you know, we look for that kind of stuff. You know, I was looking for signs and stuff, and I would definitely like to go back. It was pretty thick woods, and I think it'd be great, but, you know, it's hiking. It's up a mountain, so it's not going to be easy stuff. There's no laid out trail or anything, so I'll have to make sure that I do a little more extra squats before I try doing that.
Oh, that's funny. How long is that one?
I don't know. I haven't been on it. They have trails out there that are, you know, 5, 6, 8 miles long. So, and I can imagine if you're climbing up the mountain and back down, that it's going to take a little extra time than it would if you were just walking. So.
Well, I really appreciate you, Tammy, for doing it. My organs would probably fall out. My organs, you know, when you get older, your organs just aren't, and you're so muscular and you're doing all of these activities. I really need to exercise to keep those organs in if I ever get on a horse.
We're the same age, Jenna.
I know, but you're kickboxing. I'm not. Big difference. I really... Well, you know, you hit a certain age and it's like, ooh, you get a little nervous about hopping on a horse.
I thought you were the youngest of us.
I am, but
Stop
physically
my
insides are much older than you guys. My outside looks so young. The insides aren't. And yes, I am the youngest. No, that's so cool, Tammy, that you got to do that. And I'm so glad I got to talk to you about it now, because I haven't even gotten to talk to you about it. So it's so fun to hear about it.
I know. We haven't got to talk very much to each other at all.
Well, every week we come on the show, we get to see each other, and it's so much fun. We actually do catch up on the show as well as talking to the guest, and that's so nice too. It keeps us happy and friendly. And
are we
Jen looks serious. Yeah,
what are you doing, Jen?
Just keep talking.
Oh, Lordy. No, I am so excited about this guest tonight, you guys. I am so excited. The list of accomplishments. This man,
he's like super smart.
Yes. And
he invented all these things, and he like creates shows and produces shows, and he develops things. He develops cameras, lighting. I mean, he's known for some of those things. The list is incredible. What else? Let me see here. He developed the underwater lighting system and camera to filter out birth blood.
He is.
Hey, Jenna. Hey, Jenna. There he is.
I was just talking about
guys,
you.
how are you doing?
Good.
Good. We were waiting for you. Good to
Yeah,
see you again.
Hopefully I wasn't too late. Hey, Jen.
Hey, no, you're doing great. You're doing great. We were just catching up, and we're waiting to introduce you. Jenna was just starting to talk about you a little bit, but hey, everybody, this is Doug.
he's the director and creative of Monster Quest. That's one of my favorite old shows there. And you know, Doug, you have a really long list of things that you're working on and things that you've done. Can you just give us a quick highlight of what might interest our
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I started out as a wildlife producer doing wildlife photography, wildlife films, things like I did a documentary on snow and all the creatures that live in the snow, avalanches, bears, birds, just I was producing a show for PBS called Call of the Wild. And then I got interested in the Bigfoot mystery because I found tracks. We were up in the Arctic in the middle of nowhere. And when we saw a footprint in front of a tree trunk and then one behind the tree trunk, it was like something walked over the tree. It was a 7-foot tall tree. And that was a life-changing moment. And so all of my efforts at that point were focused on Bigfoot. I remember I called Matt Moneymaker up and I go, just tell me everything you know. And he just, he talked my ear off. Imagine that. Next thing you know, we got together and, I started hanging out with Matt and, and he really, he made it seem like the whole world needed to know what was going on. And what a great challenge. And I started pitching, Bigfoot documentaries and got turned down by everybody, every network I went to. Nope, they're not real, whatever. And then finally Discovery Channel. I don't know what we did different, but something, it might have been the name change, Legend Meets Science. And it happened to be the right guy. I think it was John Ford. And he said, let's do it, and that was a life-changing moment.
Wow.
So
You definitely changed a lot of lives just by getting that on the air too.
Well, I think it did. And then after Legend Meets Science, we went on to do the first Bigfoot series. There's a ton of them on now, but back then it was kind of a new thing. Mysterious Encounters aired. Nobody saw it. Nobody. It was on the Outdoor Life Network. It was on cable. I'll bet you they had, 10,000 viewers at a time. So nobody saw the show. But we were the first reality Bigfoot show to ever air. And it was really cool. It was a great experience, which really cut the teeth for shows like Finding Bigfoot and Expedition Bigfoot and, all the current shows. Because really, if you look at them now, to me, they don't look any different than Mysterious Encounters, You know the backpacks they use in Finding Bigfoot?
Yeah.
That was an idea that I had. And we had them in Mysterious Encounters, with the forward and backward looking cameras as an example. So it was fun doing those shows. I just wished I would have been smart enough to go, once Mysterious Encounters got canceled, hey, we should, pitch Discovery, the same format. But I was kind of late to the game, but ended up getting Monster Quest. So it's all good. It's all good.
It is all good. It is all good because I really enjoyed Monster Quest.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed it more because it was just a dream job, to have a job where you could think of a new lab test you wanted to do or some new location and just have it all paid for. It's amazing.
And your mind is always going. It's going. You've got a list of firsts.
Yeah.
A mile long.
Well, I've got a first to share with you guys tonight.
Oh, I love it.
It's I can't reveal everything because the people I've been working with, I'm not sure they've given me clearance to clear everything. But for about a year or 2 years, I've been wondering whether Bigfoots can see in UV, right? In UV spectrum, which would help them. I'll give you some examples. It would help them find toads because of the urine they leave, a urine trail, because the urine glows. It would help them find rodents to eat. It would help them find deer. It would help them pick the ripest berries, the ripest plant material that would have the most protein content. And so I've suspected a number of animals other than caribou. I remember reading when they for sure discovered caribou can see in the UV spectrum. I couldn't even sleep that night. I was like, oh, and because it hit me then, maybe Bigfoots do. Caribou crossed the land bridge too. They lived up in the Arctic, caribou were a lot farther south. I mean, they were I don't know where all you guys live, but they were as far south as Sioux Falls at one time. But everything's changed. So anyhow, I got really excited. I've been just thinking, Bigfoots, maybe they see in UV lighting, maybe they see in UV. And then all of a sudden, I had an idea. I'm going to test Bigfoot hair under UV light. I didn't even know if anybody had done it. It's like 2 years ago. It didn't do anything remarkable. It looked like hair with a blue glow on it. It didn't do anything remarkable. And somebody, literally on Messenger, said, hey, why don't you try this kind of a filter? Add the UV light and do this one more step. And I said, oh, that's a good idea. I'll do it. And then I forgot to do it. And then he texted me again. And so I did it. And that's when my jaw dropped. So can you guys guess what happened?
I'm on the edge of my seat here.
I am too. Come on, give it to us.
Okay. It glowed pink, bubblegum pink. And it glowed in the areas where there would be no medulla, where the medulla would be missing. The inner core, the pigmented core. Bigfoot hair has kind of unique properties already, which I'm already surprised scientists haven't went, oh, yeah, we can't match this to anything because there's no medulla or very fragmented. The pigmented core is missing, and it's got a tapered end. It's a little thinner in diameter. It's got human scaling, but we believe it's a little different. It may only have, for instance, 5 scales around the diameter shaft, which gives it a little more flexibility. Okay. So you would think all the scientists would be all over this, but they haven't been. There's been no real interest. I've not seen any interest from people other than Jeff and, Bindernagel and Henner Fehrenbach and the usual people that we know. But I'm aiming this and I'm doing this extra multi-step and I'm like, what the? It's glowing pink. And so immediately I start getting every hair I can get off every human and every animal. Send a friend of mine who's a research partner to go see what he has. And he said, I'm going to go to a taxidermy shop and I'm going to grab every animal here in North America. And so I wait a day and he comes back and he goes, nothing glows. So, and he's got a black light and he has Bigfoot hair. Okay. But I don't want to get anybody's hopes up too high because, I'm doing this once with one pack of hair. I've got some other hairs I haven't even had time to test. I've tested human hair. Nothing's remarkable like this. It picks up the UV light and then reflects it back through this secondary step as pink. But only parts of the hair, and depending on what angle and so on. So that's the new announcement. It could be a big deal because in North America, there's only one other animal that glows pink. Nobody knows about it. And lives right here in Minnesota and, all the northern states. And it glows bright pink under UV light, which is a coincidence because it's also nocturnal, right? And we believe Bigfoot's to be nocturnal. no one would ever guess in a million years what animal I'm about to tell you what it is. It's a flying squirrel.
Flying squirrel?
Flying squirrel.
Interesting.
But there's a couple interesting things. Okay. I always tell people I have brain diarrhea some days. So I had brain diarrhea, and I'm remembering an experience that I had with flying squirrels back in the 90s. I was out with Joe Frischella, one of my best friends. We were walking through the forest, and I was testing a new technology, brand new, UV or IR lighting. This is back in the, nobody even knew about it yet. It had never been on TV, infrared lighting, night vision. And I'm out, and I'm just wanting to film flying squirrels with my night, look for nocturnal animals. One of them's flying squirrels. And I'm talking to Joe, and we're looking for flying squirrels. And all of a sudden, something lands on my head. And then one lands on my leg, and another one on my arm, and my shoulders, my neck. Next thing you know, I've got 20 flying squirrels on me. And I stopped talking, and they all took off. I started talking to Joe again. They all landed on me again. And I said, this is odd. Something weird's going on here. This is really weird. And I'm filming all this. I'm getting footage. I'm filming myself with these flying squirrels all over me. And we definitely, just through quick experimentation, realized they would only come and land on me if I was talking continually. They would get so relaxed. They were grooming my hair. They were relaxed. And then I had this brain diarrhea the other day. And I went, I wonder if flying squirrels do this with Bigfoots. After all, they glow pink in UV light or UV vision. If Bigfoots see in UV vision, they're going to see a pink animal glowing at night in the moonlight, bright pink. So I want you to picture this. And then I'm thinking about wood ticks, parasites. That would be, I'm sure you guys have all thought about, how does a Bigfoot deal with wood ticks in the spring? Do they groom each other? What do they do? What do they deal with it? And look, we've all gotten in areas where you're covered with hundreds of them. You get into a patch of these baby wood ticks, and it's horrible. But then I'm thinking, well, what do flying squirrels eat? Wood ticks. Dot connected. And I'm thinking, well, what if flying squirrels, because they're so intelligent, almost as intelligent as a chimpanzee, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. I'm thinking, well, what if flying squirrels are living a symbiotic relationship just at night, grooming the Bigfoots, hunting? Flying squirrels are brilliant. What if there's this cooperative relationship? They're doing the aerial reconnaissance at night for them, showing them where the best this is, the grubs, deer, flying squirrels will eat meat. Where the deer bedded down, because they can go bing, 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 and they could travel so quick in the canopy. It's insane. They can leap 25, 30, 40, 50 feet. Their wing flaps, from what I've observed, really is to slow them down. They can leap so quick from tree to tree. They use their wing flaps just to slow them down so they don't kill themselves when they land. So a lot of people think, well, they're using them to glide, and that's not what I've seen. What I've seen, they use those wing flaps to slow their butts down so they don't kill themselves on the trunk of a tree. So that's the brain diarrhea of the day about Bigfoots.
Well,
Possibility sounds far-fetched, but I am also thinking it may not be, it just might not be.
it's definitely something to think about. Other animals clean, you look at the different apes and things, and they clean each other, and you're looking at different animals that do clean.
But I'm bouncing back to an experience I had with the beaver lodges.
Oh.
Where me and Dr. Lynn Rogers observed for the first time in history muskrats grooming the beavers, getting the parasites out of their fur. Yeah, they're living in the beaver lodges. Muskrats do. They have their role, and one of them is to groom the beavers and remove all the parasites out of their fur.
That is so neat. So they're getting nutrition as they're taking care of.
It's a symbiotic relationship. Yeah.
Wow.
Could you imagine? If even there's a tiny hint of truth, and I'm not saying any of this is true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just sharing how I think.
It's an idea, though, and every fabulous, exciting thing that's ever happened happens because of an idea, and
right.
You may have sparked something. So,
well, and that's it. Why did this guy call or get a hold of me and tell me to do this second stage? Because he heard me on a podcast talking about how I suspected they see in UV light
mm-hmm.
and in the UV spectrum. And so it's those dots that connect with people different based on their own life experiences. In my life experiences, I happen to have a lot of flying squirrels, in my past. I'm fascinated by them because they are so intelligent. They're one of the few animals you can tame as an adult.
I had no idea they were that intelligent.
Oh, yeah. We're talking like chimpanzee intelligence, maybe even greater intelligence.
I mean, I know that the common squirrel, you can train them, but wow.
Yeah, squirrels are brilliant and they're quick. And so I just thought, well, if you're a big, huge animal, bulky, and you're big and it takes a lot of calories to move your body about, it'd be really cool to have some friends that would go out and seek food that maybe you couldn't even get to or would be too hard for you to break open. You have to realize symbiotic relationships are generally one can do what the other one can't do and the other one can do what the other one can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything to, I mean, if this is, say this is real, not saying it is, but the idea is pretty incredible.
It's
so
just
say,
yeah.
The question is, are they getting something from Bigfoot ticks that would turn them pink in the trans, you know what I mean?
No, well, I think, one thing they both have in common, they're nocturnal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's already kind of interesting what I've saw with my own eyes and photographed. And I will be presenting some of this info at the Bigfoot conference this weekend up in Grand Rapids, with photos and videos. The whole idea of UV vision is quite unique because it just would help you survive. And UV vision isn't something you need to evolve to have. It's basically a filter you don't have. In other words, our eyes are more advanced than something that can see in UV because we don't need to anymore. We just don't need to. But if you were living on vegetation, UV vision would say, oh, this piece of grass is far more nutritious with more protein than this one. Okay, we don't eat grass, at least not most of us. So it would aid in a lot, and it would just be more of a primitive eye, actually. It would be more primitive. So.
But effective for what they would need it for, I suppose.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so that's just one interesting example of something we'll just play out. In fact, Justin ordered a flying squirrel from a taxidermy shop yesterday, which was hilarious. It was like $65 for a flying squirrel, a stuffed flying squirrel. It's like perfect. I'm excited.
Wonderful.
My daughter wants a flying squirrel, so.
Anyhow, I just call this brain diarrhea.
There you go. Well, I think it would be fun to play with a live squirrel if it was tame enough, I guess.
Yeah.
We're coming up on our half the mark break, so we're gonna take our commercial break and we'll be right back. Stay tuned, everybody. All right, so we're at break, but everything is being recorded on video and will end up on YouTube. So we have a 2-minute 2 minutes we have to listen for Sarge to come back and tell us that we're back on the air.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
You're
doing great.
I didn't even know you guys did a pod. There's so much I don't know.
Well, we're live on the radio. We have a live show on the radio network.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then we record it on Skype and upload it to YouTube after the show. So
yeah, it's similar to our show. Yeah, we're live too, and then it gets on FM, whatever. I don't even know or care, but then it gets uploaded as a podcast.
Awesome. Very cool.
So you guys just take this wherever you want to go. I'll shut up now.
Oh no!
You're the guest. We want to hear you.
This is awesome. I love this.
Yeah. I was just kind of excited about the possibilities because it could also allow us, if you take this right equipment into the field, to find Bigfoot hairs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go to the nest you found or the log that's twisted, and now you've got something to go look. Oh, there's one. Oh, there's one. There's one.
I want to. I know you can't give us the second part of it, but dang it, I want to see it. I want to find out what that second process is. I know you can't tell, but I just want to.
Well,
I want to find out.
I really would love to feature it in Legend Meets Science, and I know I'll get scooped by 90 different people. That'll be on History Channel next week, and and then people say, "God, wasn't that a great discovery that guy made?" It's just amazing.
30.
I think you've made a lot of discoveries. That's exciting.
I'm wondering if my brand new state-of-the-art phone has a UV filter camera on it.
But couldn't you just take like a UV camera?
Everybody's trying to figure it out now. Everybody's trying to figure it out. That's okay. It's good. It's a good exercise.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. This is the Journey Radio Show, and hey, we're the She-Squatchers. Won't you check us out online at she-squatchers.com? Right there at the top of the page, you can click on events and see where we're going to be next. Our remaining 3 events for the end of the year have been canceled and moved to the spring and early summer. So you can see where we're going to be. Washington twice, and then also North Carolina. So come see us if you're around there, and we're excited to see you all there. We'll be presenting at those. I know the one in North Carolina is expecting like 20 to 40,000 people, so that's going to be super fun. And we missed out on it this month, so they canceled at the last minute because of COVID. So we're looking forward to going there in the spring, and so we hope to see as many of you there as we can. And please like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at She-Squatchers Official. And we're back with our guest, Doug. Doug, I didn't want to murder how you say your last name. Can you pronounce it?
Just old Hajicek.
Jenna was almost right.
I was so close.
We talked about it for almost 10 minutes before the show.
Oh, no.
You did. I told her, I said, just text him and ask him. Say, I don't want to murder your name. Please tell us out.
Yep, just old Hajicek.
Oh.
But yeah, I went through school and nobody could pronounce it. So
I have that problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I would have had the last name of Smith, but then nobody can find you. So
yeah, but sometimes that's good.
people get a hold of me. It's amazing how they get a hold of me because of my last name. Because there's probably only 10 Hajiceks in the whole dang country.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you related to all of them?
Yes.
They're all my brothers. They're all
It was funny. I went with Stanton Friedman back when he was alive to investigate the Arizona lights, the Phoenix lights, and the UFO. And it was funny because the handler who picked us up at the airport goes, "I think my neighbor is your cousin." His name was Hajicek, and I found out, it was my brother's brother.
Oh,
Or my brother. My grandfather's brothers. And it was just interesting.
what a small
If
world.
you run into a Hajicek, they're a close relative.
There you go. Well, I run into people all the time that have my last name, and we're not usually blood related. So, but I heard that Cruz means curly hair
Yeah.
in German.
That's interesting.
And my hair is straight pin. It's straight as a pin. So
It means cross in Spanish.
does it?
Yeah, that makes
Interesting.
sense. That makes total sense.
Awesome.
So what do you guys want to talk about? Because
well, of course we want to talk about Bigfoot and cryptids and anything cool that you have to share. Like I really enjoyed learning from you about the pink glow of the hair. Do you know what kind of camera we could use to pick that up with? Like
No.
that's something we might
I
have?
don't know anything.
I know nothing.
I know nothing. I've already said way too much.
Oh no.
Thank you for saying it on our show.
Yeah, I did. And only because I can't contain myself. I can't. I'm like I'm like the little kid who bought his dad a present, for his birthday and tells him right away what it was. That's me.
That's me too. I'm like, okay, can you open your birthday gift now? I know it's 5 days along, but just please, for me. No, it's so exciting to think that those glow pink, and I'm so excited to hear more about.
Well, I don't. Okay, well, I want to qualify one thing. I'm not sure still if it's actually emitting light through fluorescence
or reflection.
Or emitting light through some kind of a weird reflection, and then changing the color of the reflection. I talked to a scientist yesterday who's actually very excited, and he is apparently an expert in spectrometry, they call it, and they're doing more of these studies in the wild now. It's a new science, and he actually said he took a summer course on this exact thing, and he said it may be that the thing is going from UV, absorbing it, and projecting IR out of the hair, infrared.
Oh.
2 different wavelengths. There could be a lot of weird things going on. We don't know. So it's just so preliminary. All we know is there's definitely something going on. That's all we know. We don't know what. So we don't even know.
I know a guy who's really great at inventing things, and he would take that and run with it in a heartbeat.
This is going to be it's going to be interesting, because I would imagine a lot of people are going to get on board and do all sorts of testing, and then what if it pans out? Okay, for instance, I don't even know if the hairs I'm testing are really from a Bigfoot. I didn't pluck them off the Bigfoot. They're very vetted. They look like Bigfoot hairs. They have the tapered end, no medal. You know what I mean? They came from an area I know has been numerous sightings, but I don't know for sure. So until a person can really go, DNA, this is a Bigfoot, this is, you know what I mean? So I just don't want to go, sound like a complete idiot. Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of scientists don't want anything to do with this because they don't want to be ridiculed amongst their peers. I think that's really what it's about. It's not that they're not interested in it, because who wouldn't be interested in discovering a new animal, a new species? They just don't want to be ridiculed by their peers. So I think that's why they just stay out of it.
Well, I'm hoping, I really am hoping that changes. I'm hoping that through funding of Legend Meets Science, that we can get enough money raised where we can get a baseline on DNA. We think we have the team actually put together. It's not based on one person. It's a whole bunch of scientists, all DNA scientists. They're all going to work together. And maybe if I can supply them enough samples, which I believe I can, because they were hoping for like 8 samples, and I've got like hundreds. Yeah. And they're vetted. I got another clump today. And it looks correct. Everything looks correct on the hair. If they can get enough samples, we can get a baseline. And if we can get a baseline, then game over at that point for all of us. It'll kind of be like UFO disclosure. Everybody will be going, oh, yeah, I knew they were real.
Right. I said it all along.
Yeah, didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you last week?
Hoaxer? Oh, no, he was not a hoaxer.
But if we can get a baseline DNA and, get it financed, it'll definitely be a game changer. One thing everybody doesn't know, DNA is 10 times better this year than it was last year. Next year will be 10 times better next year than this year. It just keeps, it's exponential. It just keeps getting better and better and building on better and better, cheaper technology. I mean, they're doing arrests right now on one skin cell, 50 years old. That's how good it's gotten.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I talk to these people all the time that are actually, working with law enforcement, using the new techniques. They'll, like, for instance, there was a poor girl, a teenager, 50 years ago got murdered. They suspected her boyfriend had done it. For years, they couldn't convict him, but for years, he had to live 50 years of people looking at him sideways. Finally, the team I'm working with got the bra. That was all that was left. Got her bra, got a few skin cells, 50 years old. The guy is now in jail. That did
Oh
it.
my gosh.
Yeah. They actually found his relatives, said, do you have a relative that maybe he's a little weird? Oh yeah, you need to go see blah blah blah. And they got a confession out of the guy. They killed her 50 years ago, and who knows how many other people he killed.
Oh, let's hope.
But
Not.
those are the kinds of things that, I mean, I'm literally talking to these people on a weekly basis, and the technology is getting to be amazing. So I can give them a whole lot more than one skin cell. Let's put it that way. Yep.
That's so exciting.
Yep. Yeah. Very excited. But it costs money. It's minimum of $5,000 per sample.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it. I've always known it's expensive because not a lot of people are doing it. They don't.
But 5 years ago, it would have been $100,000 to do the same kind of genomic work on that same sample to get that many because
Yeah.
we can almost get the entire genome now from a few skin cells.
Wow.
So there's a big difference. And one of the other areas that we're really excited about is the sebum that they leave behind, the skin oils.
Mm-hmm.
The skin oils are very waxy that they leave. Once again, it's all circumstantial evidence. But when you combine photos of this waxy white residue they leave behind, they detailed for latent fingerprints. You got DNA in there, and you've got the chemical compound. So you have three things that can prove their existence just in skin oil.
Wow.
And I personally have overlooked it numerous times, and one day it hit me. It's like, that's not dust. That's totally not dust.
Can I ask you what it looks like?
Does
it kind of look like sand at all?
It looks kind of grayish white. If they leave
Okay.
a good amount on your window or car door, it's going to have a kind of a grayish tint to it. But it's very, very light colored, and it's very smeary. It's hard to get off. And what's so cool, when I had that idea and then I realized that was skin oil, right away talked to a number of zookeepers who deal with gorillas, primates. And nobody ever talks to them about the crap they have to clean off the windows. They're like, oh, we can't even get it off. Do you have any ideas on how we can get this crap off our display windows? And I'm thinking,
wow.
bing, bing, ding, 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 ding. My brain's going, oh my God, it's similar. And then I talked to another scientist who provided me a research chart, because they've already done the humans' skin oil compared to gorillas, orangutans, chimps. And I'm thinking, oh my God, look at the chemical differences. It's huge between each primate. So if we can all start collecting through various clever little traps, get them to touch they seem to like to touch shiny, glossy objects. So it's not hard. If you have an area they're frequenting, you leave a piece of blue plastic, very good chance you're going to have big smudges and white fingerprints all over it. That's their fingerprints. And then you can collect the sebum in one Q-tip, photograph it first, collect the sebum, throw that in an envelope, collect another good swab for DNA. Now you're sitting on something very valuable. Mm-hmm. So those are my thoughts on that. And we're really excited to get it chemically analyzed, DNA taken out of it, because there should be a ton of skin cells in it.
Oh yeah.
And then, of course, the forensic, and then you've got the forensic evidence, the fingerprints. We've gotten such amazing photos of this stuff. You can actually see under a microscope the sweat pores. So you can actually see the actual individual sweat pores that they have.
Wow.
It's very exciting, yeah.
I wonder if it's like, like some animals have like a waterproofing in their skin, thick oils, like poodles, for instance. They have like a lanolin in their skin
Okay,
that
stop.
makes them more waterproof.
See, this is the kind of dot connection we need to hear. So you're just telling me about a poodle that's got some kind of a white.
Mm-hmm.
There
Poodles
you go.
do.
I'm literally taking big notes because that's what I'll be doing all night, is researching that. Because when you talk to zookeepers, they go, oh, and they have these big white bubbles that come out from under their armpits.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, maybe this stuff isn't actually, maybe it's coming out of their armpits, and maybe they're smearing it all over them for mosquito repellent, for, waterproofing, protection from UV light, God knows what. We don't know. But the point that there's a similarity between, animals producing this white, Shelley Covington named it alba vernix, meaning white wax. Vernix is the wax babies are coated with, when they're born as a protected amniotic fluid. It's very like that, very much like the vernix you'd see all over a baby, which is similar to the poodle.
Mm-hmm.
How thick is it? I mean, is it like you get it?
Well, if you're not supposed to bathe the poodle too often because then it's an overproduction of it and it clogs their pores and it starts flaking off their skin.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't think they're the only breed, but I do know for a fact that poodles do because I had one. So.
Okay, so one of the things you can do is get us a really good sample of this on a Q-tip.
Sure.
And send it to me.
I could do that.
And we can,
how exciting.
It becomes a good.
I could be a part of the research.
What can we do? What can we do?
Yeah, but for all we know, Bigfoot's sebum is very similar to a poodle's. We don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's exciting. So, anyhow,
I'm wondering if there's any other nocturnal animals that share similar hair.
Well, the flying squirrels apparently, but their hair is short. So that we know we're not going to collect a sample and it's not going to be flying squirrel hair.
Mm-hmm.
But I do find, there's two other animals, the recent discoveries. Pocket gophers. Where do they live their life? In the dark, underground. Possums, they're also nocturnal. They glow under UV light. So they keep discovering more and more mammals that glow. But we've already checked lynx, cougar, bear, all the suspects that would have longer hair. No. Horses, and we've checked all that stuff. Cows, dogs, cats, we've already checked all that stuff. Doesn't do it. So,
wow.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Very cool. I could listen to this all night, and I know we don't have that much time.
I know.
Yeah.
But you're going to be sharing more about this at the conference this weekend in Minnesota?
Yep.
All right, everybody. So
because Jeff will be there, Jeff Meldrum.
Yes.
I want to see the blank look on his face.
Oh, that's going to be good. That's going to be good.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it'll be interesting, but yet once again, I want to temper everything. We may be just seeing some reflectance and not a glow. But even that would be cool if there's a special, reflection going on that glows pink. That's cool too. Yeah. So.
Very cool.
One would be reactive and one would be non-reactive. The reflection would be completely non-reactive.
So in the chat room, people are asking about you're researching Bigfoot in Minnesota.
Right.
So what parts of Minnesota have you been looking?
Well, generally it's always up north, but I personally do research in the urban areas, meaning 5 miles from a gas station where there's a huge forest, bunch of swamps, where there's been sightings. Because I have a better chance at seeing one there than the middle of Ontario,
Right.
because there's only so many places they can be there. We find stick structures in next to urban areas. I don't mean 2 miles from downtown Minneapolis, but I mean in the suburbs, in the far, the outer ring suburbs. Think about it. You have more wildlife living in those outer ring suburbs than you do in the forest. We have the edges of farms, apple orchards, agriculture. There's no hunting allowed. Dogs have to be on leashes. We have huge populations of wild turkey now, huge amounts of deer, fox, coyotes living there. We have black bears now that are moved into those areas. I got the tracks on my beach to prove it, and I live in Blaine. We're right in kind of an inner ring suburb, actually. There's black bear tracks on my beach. So the animals are here because there's food here. There's a lot of it. So, I don't think you have to go in the middle of the wilderness. So I can take a drive at night, 3 a.m, around these lakes, swamp areas. And there's where I'm going to have my best chances of, sighting or getting footage with a dash cam. So,
Awesome.
But generally, the other stuff, the remote stuff's generally up north near Canada. Yep.
Yeah, we do. I live in Moorhead, Minnesota.
Yep.
And so we have had some sighting, some things coming through near the river just outside of town, like in wooded areas just outside of town.
Yep.
And I think maybe they do travel along the rivers like the turkeys and the deer do.
Yep.
But, we've had the most success on my reservation. I'm a Red Lake tribal member up from Red Lake.
Okay.
So pretty much every time we go out there, we find something. It's been really awesome.
I always tell people, go where there's a bunch of rivers, creeks that intersect. Maybe there's a power line cut, for high tension wire.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a railroad track. Those are all travel corridors. All animals, I don't care what they are. They're all looking for the easiest, quickest route to get from point A to point B and under the cover. Because think about it, railroad tracks, forest, both sides. Creeks, forest, both sides. Even if it goes through farm country, you still have forest on both sides of a creek. Power line cuts, forest, both sides. So I like to work areas where you've got 5, 6, 7 creeks all intersecting. And you've got a power line cut. Oh, and there's a railroad track. So you've got 7 ways all meeting in that area. There's where you need to concentrate. That's where you're going to have activity and on a regular basis because they're going to be coming and going through that. I just think of it as a big major intersection. So that's my strategy.
That's awesome stuff. Very good.
So
very good. Another question in the chat room. People would like to know more about where did the question go? Yikes, where did it go? Well, I'm just going to ask you the one I saw first. What do you think Bigfoot is?
I have no idea. We have no idea. None. I mean, literally none. We all kind of, a good percentage of people think primate, just a non-human primate. I would tend to lean towards that. But, I'm not gonna put a bet down any which way. Some people are really into the paranormal aspect, thinking they're interdimensional, metaphysical, alien, gotta hear everything. To me, whatever it is, it still poops, still leaves hair, it's gotta eat, and maybe, poof, it can disappear into another dimension, whatever. I don't really care because I can't, so I can only do what we can do. So I really don't know, and I get asked that a lot, and I don't have it. For all we know, it's related to a rat.
Or a squirrel.
To a flying squirrel. Yeah, we don't.
Or a flying squirrel.
We really don't know. But chances are it's a hairy human,
Yeah.
Chances are, because to me, that doesn't seem like such a stretch. I mean, we have people covered with hair right now, with hypertrichinosis. So genetically, it just doesn't seem like a stretch to me at all.
True.
I don't know why people are so unbelieving about it, because if people were describing a giraffe running through the forest, they'd go, "Oh my God, are you crazy?" But this is just, a human that's covered with hair that's maybe bigger. Well, we have huge humans, I was paying for my gas at the gas station, and I backed up 2 steps. Then I realized I was standing on a guy's feet.
Oh no.
I turned around and I went, "Oh my God." The guy was, I swear to God, he was like 7.5, 8 feet tall. And he literally had a dome in his van. So his head could pop out. And I talked to the guy for a little bit, and I felt really bad. I stepped on his feet. But we have all sorts of humans. We have little humans, big humans.
Hairy
Wouldn't
humans,
surprise
not
me.
hairy humans.
Yep. Yeah, we have ones that are not hairy. We have ones that are really hairy. It just doesn't seem like a stretch. So you go with the least amount of resistance, which is just a human being that's covered with hair that somehow went its own path, was somehow genetically, diverged a tiny bit. Like Jeff Meldrum seems to think it's closely related to some of the early humans, and not giganto. And we're going to cover a lot of that in Legend Meets Science in greater detail. But the thing is, Jeff doesn't have any idea. I don't have any idea. Nobody knows.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking about Sasquatch Meets Science 2.
Yeah, it's coming. We're filming. We're actually filming. We've been really bad about launching our Kickstarter campaign because we're going to really need it, because this isn't going to be supported by any network. I've been turned down by everybody. Nobody wants to pay for all these scientific tests. It's going to have to come from the community, we can cover the production costs and, most of it. Can we cover high-end animation? No, but we can cover production, travel, hotels. There's a lot we can do. Production's gotten way cheaper than it used to be, but the scientific tests, if I want to have 50 Bigfoot hairs tested, so we can get that baseline, and I can get it for $5,000 a hair, that's still 50 times $5,000. You're talking some big money, just for DNA. It gets ridiculous. So we're really hoping if, people can donate $5, $1, that are really into the topic, we won't let them down. Or they can put me up and hang me up from a stake.
Oh, don't say that.
Yeah, it could happen. But at least, I feel I've got enough track record and in science and stuff where I feel people will feel that we're at least going to do what we say we're going to do. I can't guarantee results on anything, but we can at least attempt it. I think it's our best shot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we have about 1 minute left of the show. Can you tell people how they can find you, where they can online?
Yeah. Running around with a UV flashlight. I'll be in the woods. Facebook is probably the best way to get a hold of me. Yep. Okay. I just joined Facebook too, like last November, and it opened up a whole new world. I mean, I had no idea all this existed. So I did Monster Quest and I went under a rock.
There you go.
Social media. I had no idea all these groups and people. It's cool to see and it's fun.
It is fun. It is fun. Well, good luck this weekend at the Minnesota Bigfoot Conference in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Yep. Say hello to everybody for us.
I will.
And good luck on all that, and your night hike and all that. I saw that was planned.
Please come back again onto the show, because there are so many great questions asked in the chat that we didn't get to.
Yes, let's just